Hey, today I want to talk about a film called Apostle. It's a 2018 Netflix film, and by Netflix film I mean that it's not like any other Netflix films. This is actually directed by Gareth Evans, and you may know or not know that Gareth Evans is the director of The Raid and The Raid 2, and those are very action-focused film. Raid is a film about a guy who just goes on rampaging in a building and he just fights floor to floor. And even though Gareth Evans, I believe, American, but he actually worked in the Thai industry, and the film is from there. So from a director like that, I was not expecting a film like this. Apostle is a film about kind of revenge or sort of a survival film, but on the other hand, this also has supernatural elements, which I was not expecting. Apostle, I wanted to see this film because multiple reasons, but I think one of the main reasons was many people have labeled this film as an underrated film. Many articles, YouTube videos have suggested this film, and this film has Dan Stevens, whom I like from Legion. So with Gareth Evans and Dan, I was pretty intrigued to see this film. I went to see this film without any kind of prior knowledge, but I had some idea that it was about a cult. So yeah, Apostle is about a lot of things, but this film actually shifts its focus from time to time through like at least half of this film. This film is about a survival film, a guy who goes to rescue his sister. But as time progresses, we get to see the supernatural elements, though there are not a lot of it. There are some jump scares or even some horror elements, but they are not played off like that. They are pretty much played off as part of this fabric of this thing and how this is weaved. And I didn't know Gareth Evans had that much of subtlety in his direction, because I thought Gareth Evans was pretty straight cut director, and even though there are actions but very minimal, and I think he was trying to sort of make an anti-raid film that any person who would see would not be able to link this film together. For example, the first two scenes of this raid and this film, in Raid, film starts with a guy saying prayer and then kissing his wife and saying goodbyes in his apartment, and from there, Raid is a pretty much a claustrophobic film, and it is enclosed in a closed space. But this film starts with a wide angle shot of a train, I believe, or a huge landscape, and from there you can from get-go tell that this is a very anti-raid film. So that's why he didn't want to push the violence or the action too much, because this is not what this film is about. This film is much more about the psychological nuances. And speaking of nuances, the title of this Apostle is never actually uttered in this film, and I was quite curious where the Apostle things comes in. Obviously, Dan Stevens is the Apostle, but the Apostle name can be incorporated in the film in a couple of ways. And as far as the actual substance of the film goes, I think this is a really good film, and I definitely think it's underrated. A lot more people should see, but then again, Dan Stevens' whole career is underappreciated and underrated. So that's this guy's whole stick for now. This film works in a couple of levels. For first, it works totally as a survival or revenge film where a guy goes to rescue his sister. On another level, as this is pretty much in a desolate island with a creepy cult-like people living in this sort of detached society, this also works in a horror sense where you can see the paranoia or the mass hysteria or the mass delusion, and both of these elements come together to make this a very unique film. I think this film is definitely worth your time, and if it's on Netflix, you should definitely watch it, because if you are the type of person who likes to see a film that keeps you engaged, you want to know what's going on, and you sort of like any kind of mysticism, though not too much, and definitely expect a horror film, I think this is a film for you, and I think this film will keep you engaged. I give this film 4 out of 5. Bye.